Hi everybody, it's Alex Newton from K-Lytics, today with our Kindle market trends for September 2021. So let's have a look. Let's begin with the market news, where we dove into all the category bestseller lists and looked for trends and developments. And the biggest news this month is certainly Amazon's introduction of new Kindle subcategories. Mind you, subcategory level changes do represent a major change because we have about 30 main categories here on level 1 in the Kindle store. Once you go to the next level down, take romance as an example, this is where we talk about subcategories, so it's the level 2 in the hierarchy, and we don't get changes on that level that often. In total, there have been 20 new such subcategories. Some of them have certainly been less important, I'd say, if you look at new introductions such as comfort food. Yet others represent, I think, pretty important changes, such as this one here, romance later in life. Over the years, I received many emails from clients asking how about romance novels involving older characters, and it was always a pretty tricky question to answer because if you visit Google Trends, for example, and you type in searches such as baby boomer romance or romance for seniors or romance books for seniors as exact match searches or phrase matches, the result is not very encouraging because it says here, your search doesn't have enough data to show here. But one does have to notice that if you start typing on Amazon searches such as romance for, suggestions are romance for teens, women, but here already number 3, romance for older women, romance for women over 40, romance for seniors. So on Amazon, it's clearly something that people are searching for. Thus, the introduction of the category finally gives us something to measure. And if we plot it on our so-called K-Lytics strategy map, where every dot is a category, and the higher up the category is, the better the sales rank, the further it goes from the left to the right, the higher the level of competition as measured by the number of titles, we see that this new category, romance later in life, is an excellent new category with sales rank average across the top 20 titles of around 1,200, and the category size is less than 1,000 English-speaking titles at the point in time. Some authors and publishers immediately seized the opportunity, and currently the fight for market share is on, and you see that many of the, say, more women's fiction type of authors have placed books in the category and captured the bestseller list here within a very short period of time. And as a K-Lytics Premium or Elite member, you do find all the new categories in our September edition of the Premium report. Simply access the data table or download the PDF, but in the data table, simply use the custom field and filter for those where you find an N in the column, N for new, and you have a list of all the new subcategories, and the new lower level categories will follow in the Elite data later this month. And we will certainly follow how sales develop further. Talking about sales, the situation currently is very stable. Across the top 30 categories, we have a situation with literature and fiction leading, then romance, mystery, thriller, suspense, sci-fi and fantasy, then non-fiction, then teen, young adult, with no change in the relative ranking from last month to this month. So very stable market shares in the top by now. If you like to have the complete ranking, there is no need to take notes. You can download your free copy at klytics.com/free report, free-report. Let's have a closer look into some fiction categories. The most notable development here in mystery, thriller, suspense, the sales level has soared during summer, with the average sales rank here improving from around 160, 170 all the way into the 120s, 130s of the store. Now, I'm not sure whether there is a direct relationship, but from a business and economics point of view, well, there is a price influence potentially, where we saw mystery, thriller, suspense ebook prices dropping all across the board in July, where we had a lot of 99 cents promotion and lower level pricing, even in the top 100. And who knows, perhaps that explains part of this increase. Now, within mystery, thriller, suspense, a particular good category has been domestic thrillers. We already talked about this very remarkable performance in our earlier psychological thrillers report earlier this year. And the category has been performing so well that it's almost off the chart on our K-Lytics strategy map. Here it is, the yellow dot with the average sales rank across the top 20, currently 139. That's across the top 20 titles out of more than 8 million titles, while we still have less than 2,500 titles in the category. So probably currently one of the hottest niche markets that we have on the map. Then romance continues to be the #1 genre according to the top 30 categories rankings. It's been doing very well throughout the whole pandemic time, except for the dip here in March, April 2020. So very stable. And good news is also the price levels, because they have been continuously increasing here over the last 18 months. If we put a trend line through these average prices here, with the top 100 averaging more high prices higher than $4.50. So gone are the days where even the top 100 had dropped below the $2.99 mark on average some years back. Science fiction and fantasy sales continue also on a very strong positive trajectory, with this remarkable increase over the last 18 months. And this strong sales performance did not come at the expense of any major price drops. So here we also talk about a very stable performance in pricing. Teen Young Adult, very stable, pretty much a sideways motion in sales. And here a very remarkable example when we look over a 5-year horizon. Here you have the average sales rank of the Teen Young Adult romance, paranormal and fantasy category. This one has been on a decline for more than 3 years. Then the pandemic hit, and ever since then the trend line has been up again. So as also teen and young adult reading activity has increased during the pandemic, there seems to be a clear genre choice here. And especially fantasy romance has been one of the major drivers behind this trend. Last not least, yet have a word about non-fiction performance versus the fiction bestseller lists. This one needs mention too, because it's a development we haven't seen in previous years. Usually we always had non-fiction as a bestseller list ranking lower here, the blue line, than literature and fiction. But the distance between the two used to be fairly constant on average. But ever since the pandemic hit, we have a clear decline in the relative share of non-fiction versus literature and fiction. And no matter whether we talk about self-help books, or whether it is business and money on Kindle, or e-cookbooks, or even health, fitness and dieting, the overall trend has been downwards, and I'm very curious to see how this will develop as we approach the end of the year, and then usually the high time of nonfiction, when people start doing their New Year's resolutions around, December, January time. All right, so much for today. If you're not a full member yet, if you want to get data on 7,000 and more categories, where, by the way, this month for elite members, we will upload the spreadsheet with all the many new categories that we discovered. Or if you like access to all the genre reports, check it out at klytics.com. That's k-lytics.com. And get your membership there if you don't have one yet. With this, I wish you a great end of summer. And this is Alex Newton from K-Lytics, ebook market intelligence for success.